as far as the booking for Hideo moving forward, I got 4 quick options. I'm going to run through them quickly. One is you could just put him up on Raw and you team him up with Heyman, because that's how every lazy armchair booker in the world would book him. I'm sorry if one of you guys did that. So number 2, you can move him to SmackDown Live. You can have him team up with Nakamura, and you can have Tozawa be their valet, and they can chop Fandango's dick off. You can go that angle. Number 3, he could just go to 205 Live and be like a badass kind of tweener, or maybe even a heel. He could be the new Neville on the other side of Neville, maybe dropping the title to a babyface, just like I lined up with NXT. And then what I'd go with ultimately is just have him come to SmackDown, have him be a heel, have him have great fucking matches with Sami Zayn, Nakamura, and AJ Styles, and call that shit a day. What do you guys think?
So obviously the best one, for now at least, is option 4, because that would be perfect booking. The problem is we're never going to see that because it's too perfect booking. Anything that's really, really good booking, you're probably never going to see in the WWE. I hate to say it. But yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love to see that. Have him come in and just do his thing. There's more than enough talent for him to work with, and it's very simple. But Colin, I'm going to go ahead and ask you that same question. What can Hideo Itami do? What can the WWE do with him?
All right. Well, I don't watch a lot of NXT, so this is going to be just some crazy booking that's thrown out there. I don't know if many of you watched Cowboy Bebop, but you make Hideo Itami Spike Spiegel, and you sign Brian Cage, and you make him Jet, and then you find just some random girl on the roster and make her Faye, and you run a Cowboy Bebop stable where you have these guys going around cutting vignettes, being bounty hunters, kicking ass. When Roddy Strong's ready to win that title, you can have Hideo Itami come in with his ragtag crew of misfits, and they just come in and wreck shit. I think that would be the first option. That is my favorite option, and I just thought of that on the fly while Bello was going about his thing. Or if I remember when he first came into NXT, they kind of booked him as like this Japanese ass kicker. Am I wrong in that? Is that correct? That is correct. I'm getting thumbs up from both guys. Okay, so why not just repackage him as the Asian Finn Balor? I mean, they don't have Finn Balor on the NXT roster anymore. He can easily come out back in his black leather jacket, in his little tights that he wears with his kicking boots, and just go back to being the kick-ass Asian Finn Balor that we had before he got injured and before Finn Balor really came on the roster and took over that spot.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that. Asian Finn Balor. Bello, you know, I know you like Finn Balor a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a problem for Itami, is that you're always like, I've always drawn that comparison. I'm really happy that I'm not alone in that, and that they're the same size. They have the same essential style. They both have the lineage from Japan. They're both, obviously pretty much the same, just in so many ways. And they came up into NXT at the same time. I think Hideo's never going to be Finn Balor. Like at the end of the day, if you're going to make that comparison, he's always going to fall short, because he doesn't have the charming Irish accent and the fucking demon character and all that kind of stuff. He's just not ever going to be as shiny as Finn Balor is. And so they need to separate him from him as much as humanly possible, in my opinion, which is why throw him on SmackDown, have him wrestle AJ, have him wrestle Nakamura, all that stuff. I think that'll work for everybody. People see that he's great in the ring, and that'll get him over.
Another thing they could do with him too is like a smooth Japanese Yakuza type. I know it's stereotypical. WWE usually goes down those roads, but he could go, if he's going down the heel road, they could do the smooth gangster Yakuza type. He likes to wear the suits, throw the sunglasses on him, have him sitting at a desk smoking cigarettes, just being, threatening to cut your pinky off if you don't do what he asks you to do. I mean, it's all there for him.
Yeah, actually, I actually love that, like a Yakuza type. For those who don't know, Yakuza is basically like, I guess you could say like Japanese mafia. Yeah, I actually like that. That's a pretty damn good idea. But for all the WWPN world watching this, NXT fans, what would your idea be? How would you book Hideo Itami? How would you, book him to get onto the main roster? And then once he's on the main roster, how would you do it? I want you to go ahead and leave some comments down below on how you'd go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and move forward into our third and final topic. And as we were talking about, Colin brought up a little earlier, Bello also brought up a little bit, indie darlings. We've seen a huge influx of indie guys coming into the WWE. NXT most of the time, and then making their way onto the main roster. Some are still on the main roster. So there have been a lot of rumblings in the internet wrestling community saying that these guys are killing the product. They're killing WWE. For me, I tend to disagree with that, only because without these guys, honestly, without some of these indie guys, I don't know if I'd be watching the WWE product right now, based on their own homegrown talent. I really don't know if I'd be watching the product right now. These indie guys are basically the workhorses of the company right now. They're carrying the company. I know I may be going a little far saying that, but at least that's how I feel. They're carrying this company. Whatever little ratings this company is getting, it has to do a lot with the indie darlings. But Bello, am I nuts here? Am I totally off? What do you think?
To be perfectly honest, when you gave us this question, I haven't heard any of this. Like, I haven't heard about anybody complaining that it was the indie darlings. Of the millions of reasons I've heard about ratings slipping, that was like not even one of them.
I've seen a lot of forums, like message boards and forums. I tend to go on a lot of message boards and forums, and I always see the topic come up, and I'm like, what? And there's tons of people who are like, oh yeah, get these guys out of here. It's mostly people who I'm assuming are strong WWE loyalists and they're not into a second product or a third product. I'm assuming that's what those people are.
See, I think that's your downfall, JB, is you're in message boards. This is that you're showing your age a little bit here. And that you got to be out amongst the people in the Twitter sphere, on Instagram and stuff like that. People love these guys. If anything, they're angry we're not getting enough of them, I feel like.
I have to agree with Bello. I think it's more so people get excited about their favorite talent being signed into the WWE, and then them coming over, and you're not getting the full character that these people fell in love with on the indie scene. Again, the Jon Moxley character of Dean Ambrose, the fact that the Hardys came over and we didn't get the broken gimmick. People are afraid that when Kenny Omega comes over or Adam Cole come over, even the Young Bucks come over, that they're going to be watered down to make the advertisers of the WWE happy, because they don't want. That's part of the reason why we don't have the Attitude Era anymore, is because the advertiser friendly product now that the WWE has to put on. But I think that's where people get their disappointments at. It's not that these indie guys are killing the product. I mean, Stone Cold wasn't a homegrown product of the WWE, and he's probably their biggest star they've ever had, their biggest selling star they've ever had. The Rock probably is the most homegrown talent that you can say that the WWE's ever had. Maybe John Cena coming in through OVW and everything. I think that's where he came up, or FCW. I'm not exactly sure.
I think it was OVW.
It was OVW. But so that would kind of be seen as a homegrown talent, maybe, because that's one of their kind of affiliate leagues. But The Rock is really their only homegrown talent that they've brought in from the beginning, from day one, and pushed up through that's become a major star. I think everybody else they've had has come over with some kind of appeal from New Japan or TNA or WCW, or Hogan was a territory guy. I mean, he was big in all the other territories before he even came to the WWE. So I think it's more so the WWE is screwing up when these indie guys come over, more so than the indie guys screwing things up for the WWE.
So that brings up another question. Obviously, the money is where WWE is. I think everyone can agree on that. That's where the real money is. But if you are a indie, in the indie scenes, do you want to come over? Holding off on the money, do you really want to come over to WWE? Because it's public knowledge that when you go to WWE, you have to fit a certain mold, because like Colin said, they have advertisers they have to worry about, and they have sponsorships and TV deals, and they have to fit a certain way. As an indie star, do you want to go over, or is money the number one thing, or does your character and your reputation mean more? Colin, I'm gonna throw that back right at you.
It's kind of hard, because again, the WWE relies on you, as Vince has said, grabbing the brass ring. So guys like the Bucks that have made a name for themselves, I mean, the Bucks in a money sense, don't need to come to the WWE. They probably make more money outside of the WWE, but with the WWE, more eyes are going to get on their product. I mean, I don't know how many people see them in ROH in India or Australia, or how many people see them in New Japan that live in Russia or England. You know how, but with the WWE, you're going to get your eyes. People are going to see you in those countries that I guess they wouldn't see you in if you were like in TNA or New Japan. So you're gonna have that promotional machine behind you that you wouldn't normally have just doing it by yourself. But that would probably be one of the biggest perks about going to the WWE is getting the machine behind you in a sense, instead of having to do it all yourself.
Bello, thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's, if you're an outside guy, for instance, like a Cody Rhodes, a guy who left the company because of some of these kind of things that were going on around him. You know, with a couple of exceptions, they treat you like such an outsider when they sign you. They come in, they make you go through their developmental system and earn your spot. And then when you come in and you've got something that's over, they don't let you do it, like the Bullet Club. And it's just, you know, why even bother doing this then? Like, why sign the Bullet Club if you're not going to let them do the Bullet Club? Yes, there we go, Colin. But you know, why would you even bother? Sometimes it makes me wonder if they don't just sign these guys so that they're not doing that elsewhere. You know, like, let's not let the Bullet Club be awesome. Let's sign as many of their guys as we can, so that they can't do it and they can't be making money outside of it. Joke's on them. Their t-shirts are now right next to theirs on Hot Topic shelves. So, you know, these guys are finding a way to do it without the machine. But getting back to the original point a little bit, as far as the indie guys so much, I don't think it's the indie guys as much as it's like the younger stars in general. Over the course of like the last decade, they've basically had this issue where they relied so heavily on part-time talent that they never got the opportunity to put guys over. Guys like, literally have a whole list of guys here that should have been like, that should be the main event scene right now. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Carlito, Johnny Mundo, Shelton Benjamin, Ted DiBiase Jr., Bobby Lashley, Ken Kennedy, Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder. Like, they should all be the big generation of stars right now that guys like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose are chasing and trying to take their spot from, but they never got their chance to shine because The Undertaker wrestled for 26 years and they hung on to Flair for far too long, and they hung on to Triple H is still wrestling at this point in his career. It's just they never gave these guys a shot, and Punk and Rhodes left as a result of it, and you know, are still making money elsewhere. For what it's worth, CM Punk hasn't had all that much success outside of WWE, but I'm sure he's getting paid. But yeah, I think it's time that they treat the younger stars like a big deal, and maybe they are. Seth Rollins is on the cover of the video game this year. It's the first time a young star other than Cena or a part-timer or a legend has been on since Punk was in 2012. So maybe this is a sign that they're moving past it, and you know, that they're going to give these guys a shot and a chance to shine. Let's cross our fingers. We can only hope.
Absolutely. We can only hope. And I was absolutely happy that Seth Rollins did make the cover. I know it's a small thing, but I am happy that they're going in a different route. It's not some part-timer. They could have easily put Kurt Angle on the cover. So I am happy that they went with Seth Rollins. And the show was pretty damn good as well. If you haven't seen that, definitely go ahead and check it out. But Bello, I agree to all your points that you made. Now, right now, there have been some guys that have come in from the indies, and they've been treated great. They've been treated amazing. But then there's some guys who have come in from the indies, and they've been treated like shit. Bella, I know you talked about like some of the guys going to NXT before making the main roster. I think the reason why they do that is because they want people to see the WWE way of doing things. They make them go to, in NXT, they make them go to promo classes and where to stand when you're cutting a promo as far as camera goes. So those little nuances, I think that's the reason why they make most of them go to NXT. Outside of like AJ Styles, I don't know anyone that's really come up to the main roster that I can think of in the last couple years or so. So I think that's why. So I'm not saying that's how they treat them badly. What I'm saying treat them badly is they don't get proper booking. Sometimes they just fade into nowhere. So my question to you guys is, who is the next indie darling that's going to get signed that will actually make it into the main event level and actually have a pretty good run? Colin, I'm going to go ahead and ask you that final question before we move forward.
I'm actually excited that Bobby Fish has just recently gotten signed. I'm a big MMA fan, and I think that having an MMA background is huge for professional wrestling. I mean, look at guys like Daniel Bryan, who got over with the kicks and a lot of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu moves that he does on the ground. I mean, you can use those moves and make it look flashy. I don't. I would love to see him get a push. I don't think they'll do it. I mean, he's a great strong style type of fighter. You can have some good heavy brawls and stuff with him. I think Bobby Fish would probably be my answer to that.
Bello, how about you?
I don't know that there's a big indie guy out there right now, because I'm just trying to think. As much as we love these indie guys, most of the smarks, the internet or whatever the case may be, we love these kind of guys. There's not like a big giant man out there that Vince is going to look at and fall in love with. Like Ricochet's out there. I fucking love Ricochet. I think Ricochet could, even if they delegated him to 205 Live, he could make that work to some degree. Like they could literally build that show around him the way Lucha Underground did for the first whole season, essentially. And they can probably get some ratings and some views on there as a result of just his charisma and athleticism. But I don't know that there's a big guy out there. I mean, Omega, Cole, Cody Rhodes might be the biggest deal. If Cody Rhodes came back, and it's weird that I'm wearing the shirt and I hate to keep talking about him, but if him coming back right now, he's an indie wrestler. If he came back right now, he'd make the biggest splash of all of them, because it'd be like, oh shit, like what's he gonna do? You can immediately put him in a world title picture, because that's what he'd be back to do anyway. So I mean, maybe he's the guy that can really push through and break through that wall for the rest of the indie guys to come, rushing through behind him for the future.
Absolutely. It's going to be enjoyable to watch and see exactly who is the next indie guy to come in and actually, like you said, break through those walls and actually make it. There's so much talent in the indies that I never knew of. I never watched the indies before joining the WWPN. I felt there was no need to join to watch the indies. And then I met guys like CEO Hayes. I met guys like Bello, Gerald Cooper, like Colin, who's, there is a wrestling world outside of the WWE. And I am so happy that I did that. So if you're one of those people that just watch WWE and New Japan, or just WWE and TNA, definitely check in the indies and see what they got, because there's so much talent out there. So that's really all we have as far as the indies go. And that's really all we have as far as topics go. We do have time for one last segment, of course. And it's my most favorite segment. It's the segment that people usually comment to me when they DM me on Twitter about. And that segment is the Gripe Bomb. With the Gripe Bomb, I'm going to give each of our guests 60 seconds to rant or rave or complain or whatever it is. They have 60 seconds about anything related to pro wrestling. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Colin first. And Colin, just go ahead. 60 seconds. Go ahead and drop that Gripe Bomb.
Oh man, let's see. Roman Reigns. Let's get this out the way. This is not going to be a very, very happy topic, but I'm tired of him being shoved down our throats. Either let the man just be let the man be Joe, or just get him out of the way and let somebody else just be in front of my face on the TV when he's there. I mean, I see a lot of potential in Roman Reigns. I want the best for Roman Reigns, but right now is not Roman Reigns' time. Let Braun Strowman just beat the crap out of this man, move him on out of the way, and let's have someone else be the face of the WWE, or be the face of Raw at least.
All right, and there you have it. That's Colin's gripe. Didn't even need the 60 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, everyone who's ever listened to anything I've done already knows my feelings about Roman Reigns. Don't get me wrong, the guy is decent in the ring. His promos, from my standards, are shitty. But I don't need this guy on my television all the time. I don't need him winning every match, or just the way it's being booked. I don't need to see the second coming of John Cena. I just don't need to see it. Bello, I'm gonna ask you to comment real quick on Roman Reigns based on everything Colin said. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I touched on it a little earlier on. I don't think he's got that crossover appeal. For all the reasons I outlined Finn Balor to be the perfect babyface, I just think Roman Reigns is never going to get more than 2/3 of the way there. He's always going to have the kids. He's always going to have the women. He's never going to win over that diehard 18 to 50 male crowd. It's just never going to happen at this point. So the portion of that crowd that does like him will like him and probably just get killed about it at shows for wearing his gear all the time from now until the end of time. But I'm never rooting for him like on that level again. Even the Shield getting back together, which is something I'll get into in just a second. But like that might even be ruined now because I just dislike this character so much. It's the same thing with Cena. I like Cena, the guy. I just can't stand the character. Keep him away from my up and coming stars that are trying to make a name for themselves and become the next John Cena, because he just sucks all the air out of the room.
Yeah, Bello, I absolutely agree with you. And when I say I don't like a certain wrestler, that's just the wrestler. As far as a person, a real life person, John Cena, I respect the hell out of with the schedule that he's done for so long. No other person, not even Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, whoever, has ever held to that type of schedule and done so many things, met so many kids and done so much charity. And so John Cena is a good person when it comes to things like that. As far as John Cena, the character, Roman Reigns, the character, I could do without. But Bello, it is that.
Can I throw a quick disclaimer real quick?
Absolutely.
I feel like right now Roman Reigns isn't the answer, but down the road Roman Reigns could be the answer. You got like The Rock, just like The Rock. Everybody hated Rocky Maivia. Everybody hated The Rock, and then at some point in time, Dwayne Johnson just turned. Something just turned, and he was the people loved Dwayne Johnson, no matter what The Rock did when he was in the Nation of Domination, hitting Mick Foley in the face a bajillion times with a chair. People still loved The Rock. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like they still cared about The Rock enough. So I don't think Roman Reigns is the answer right now, but maybe later on down the road, something will click with his character, something will click with the people, and he'll be somebody that people will like.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I was on YouTube one day, and I don't remember what the hell I was searching for or what I was looking up, but I came across a video, and it's something from FCW, and apparently Summer Rae. I didn't really watch FCW, but Summer Rae was the general manager at the time, and she was introducing someone named Liaki. But on the thumbnail, I saw Roman Reigns, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I watched the video. Roman Reigns came out as Liaki. That was his name. In a suit, sunglasses, and he had pretty much kind of the same character he has now, where he was kind of smug, but it was honestly the best promo I had ever heard Roman Reigns cut, and it wasn't even as Roman Reigns, it was as this Liaki guy. I think if they can go back to that type of setting, have Roman Reigns like that, I know we're all pushing for him to be a heel a lot, or at least a lot of us are. I think that's one way to at least start things. It's so much easier to cut a promo as a heel, and it's so much more easier to draw heat versus gaining cheers, especially as a heel, obviously. But we'll have to wait and see what they do with Roman Reigns. As long as they're not stuffing him down our throats, whatever it is, I'll be fine with. Bello, we're going to go ahead to you now. I want you to go ahead and drop your gripe bomb.
All right, so my gripe bomb is about the ratings. I'm sick of fucking hearing about the ratings. I don't care about the ratings. It doesn't affect my viewing of Monday Night Raw on any given week, whether I'm the only one in the world watching it or literally all 7+ billion of us are all watching it simultaneously. It doesn't matter to me. And for all of the internet marks out there, like, oh, the ratings suck, this, that, and the other thing, good. Let them fucking tank. Maybe we'll actually get the kind of change that we want to see. We've got the Shield, we've got the Bullet Club on Monday Night Raw right now. There's no fucking reason why them and the Broken Universe and maybe the New Day hop over, and all of a sudden you've just got mayhem and faction warfare. There's a lot of story and really good story and entertaining story to be told. They're just not telling it, so fuck it. Let the ratings just hit rock bottom. Maybe they'll eventually hit the point to where they say fuck it, and they start trying new, interesting things, the types of things that we all call for all the time, all those last tricks that they have in the bag or behind the glass in case of emergency. Let's see it. Let's see all of it. And maybe WWE and wrestling in general can be a thing again.
Yeah. Good job, Bello. Yeah, everything you're saying is absolutely on point. Why, as a regular fan, I don't have no problem discussing ratings, analyzing ratings, but at the end of the day, why do we give a fuck? It doesn't matter. The money's not coming to our pockets. And like Bello said, if you're unhappy with the product right now, by the fact that the ratings continuously are tanking, you should probably want it to even tank even more, because only until then will the W actually do something. Right now, we don't know. They're probably happy with 2 at 2.5 and 3 and 2.1 and those types of ratings. But now if they start getting under that, then I think we have an issue, and then we may see some booking changes. But nonetheless, both of you guys, Colin, Bello, great, absolutely great gripe bombs here on the show. And that's really all we got. If you guys don't have anything else to say, we're gonna go home on this one. Anything else you guys would like to add before we go into our plugs?
And the ratings thing, the last time Vince was backed into a corner, we got the Attitude Era, we got Stone Cold, we got all these things that we've been talking about today. So maybe the ratings do need to dip. Maybe Vince's back needs to go up against the wall again, and maybe he will pull the trigger, like Bello said, on some of these things that we've been asking him to do for us.
Yeah, exactly. Another great point. When McMahon's back was to the wall, he was in that I guess you want to say the new generation era where you had guys like Bret Hart and that type of thing. And don't get me wrong, Bret Hart's my all-time favorite, but it was time for a change, and it was time for something else. And television itself was moving in a different direction. Jerry Springer and a lot of shock television, as they like to call it. So they moved with times, whereas now I think they're on the brink of that. They need to, and whether it's going back to the Attitude Era or going to some era that we don't even know exists, they need to definitely switch it up, because obviously it's not working. Bello, any last comments from your end, bro?
No, I'll make the comparison to this. It's like the internet fans complaining about the ratings tanking. It's like conservative politicians complaining about a government shutdown. No, we want the government to shut down. We want less government. That's what we fucking believe in. So we want better ratings, which means that we're going to have to get better storytelling. And maybe the only way we're going to get that is by shutting the whole sumbitch down.
Exactly. Get that shit by force. So really, that's it. That's all we have for Smart Talk. I'm going to go ahead and go to Colin first. Please tell the WWPN world, the beautiful people out there, where they can find you, Colin.
You can find me on Twitter at Rasslin Redneck. That's RASSLINREDNECK. Or you can find me at Colin Wysong. That's just my normal Twitter account. You can also find me and JayB on Cage Town. It's our MMA podcast. We usually do about once a month, maybe twice a month coming in July, because there's a couple big fights coming up. July 8th, Nunes versus Shevchenko. And then we've got DC. We've got Cormier and John Jones later on in the month. If John Jones can pass the drug test, the man loves his booger sugar.
And real quick, any last words from the Rasslin Redneck?
Oh, I ain't got much to say here for you guys. I just enjoy the show. I enjoy listening to the WWPN podcast that you guys got out there. You got the Red Zone, you got the Blue Zone, you got the Next Level podcast with the murderous one, Andrew Bello. You got the I Love Lucha. Kind of reminds me of I Love Lucy. Sometimes you come on home, Ricky Ricardo. He's like, "Hey, Lucy, I'm home." And
all right.
Redneck cut out a little bit there, but thank you so much, Redneck. I guess he's losing connection in his trailer. Probably doesn't.
I think I actually muted my microphone.
All right. Well, thank you nonetheless, Redneck. Bello, please tell the people where they can find you and all your murderous ways.
All right, folks. So it has been TH to the E, AN to the D, REWBELLO. You didn't know. Find me on Twitter at WWPN Bello. Find me here on the Wrestling World Podcast Network. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, it doesn't matter. Red Zone, Let Me Talk to You. Sorry, not Let Me Talk to You, although I am occasionally on Let Me Talk to You, but Red Zone, Next Level, and For the Love of Lucha, where CJ and I drive on into Kayfabe County and we talk Lucha Underground completely in Kayfabe, or at least we're trying our damnedest. We're going to get there eventually. But I am the mayor of Kayfabe County, so I'm showing CJ the underground fighting ring that we have going on over there. And that's it. Find us online as well at thewwpn.com and on Twitter at thewwpn.
Bello, that spelling of your Twitter, that had like remnants of the ruthless aggression era. What was that about? That's a new thing. I've never heard that before.
It's a little ode to Double J as he's silently taken over the wrestling world. That's right.
That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But I am the Prodigal One, JayB. Please continue to show us the love you guys have been showing us. We are now somewhere, at least at the time of this recording, We're about mid 60s as far as YouTube subscribers go. Our downloads on iTunes continue to rise, as well as Stitcher and other areas. We really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving us. Please go ahead and give this video a like, and also go ahead and share it. Comment, please comment down below. We want to hear all your opinions and all your comments regarding these particular topics we discussed today. And also tweet me, DM me on any topics you want to hear for upcoming Smart Talks. A lot of these particular topics that we spoke about today were from people who gave me opinions. Also, I do want to take this time out and shout out a couple different people who have helped us as far as, you know, us building this YouTube channel. Again, we're primarily, I want everyone to remember, we are primarily in the podcasting game, but we're using YouTube as a way to you know, go hand in hand with our podcasting. So guys like Bobby B Wrestling, guys like Hibiki, Bruiserweight. I mean, there's so many different guys. I'd be here all day thanking those guys, but I want to thank everybody. Ben's Cast, so many different guys. Mike. So many different guys that I want to thank for everything they've been doing, all the support. That's enough rambling from me. That's going to go ahead and end this episode. Again, thank you all so much for viewing and for supporting us. Please continue to do so. For the Andrew Bello, for Colin, a.k.a. the Rasslin Redneck, I am JayB, saying thank you, and we love you.